Welcome back to the channel. One of my favorite things about modern day games, modern day created tabletop basketball games that is advantageous over, I'd say, the prior generation of games. Prior generation meaning retired games or semi-retired games or games that have been revived that were created back before the year 2000. And you know the games I'm talking about: Fast Break by Mickey Games, retired in 87, Status Pro Basketball, retired in 1993 but reinvented in modern day years with similar cards, though lacks a little bit of accuracy but is a lot of fun. And Stratomatic, of course, which doesn't offer older seasons anymore and has a poor utilization of the three-point shot in modern day games, but is still a very complete and full statistically active game, is the fact that a modern game like bank shot basketball, which has been getting a lot of play on gamers' tabletops on YouTube lately. I've seen Dave Garner had a streak where he's playing bank shot daily. And I also saw the Replay Gamer try about 3 different games, including a replay and maybe some strat and things like that. It was just really neat. And Daniel Evanson, if you know who that is, Daniel also played some Fast Break and some hoops and some things of that nature as well. So it is baseball summer, and we have some of the best tabletop analysts and game players playing basketball games, which that's a whole nother topic altogether. Basketball, I think, in my mind, is the best all year-round game you can play. It's just fun. You can get a lot of satisfaction just playing one game, where baseball, you can play a tabletop game, whether it's payoff pitch or APA, and you get to play that one game, and Ken Griffey Jr. goes 0 for 3 with a walk and hit by pitch. Not an exciting scoring line by that individual player. You really got to play a series of games in order to get the bigger body of work for baseball players, especially hitters. So I figure in basketball games, you can just go play one game. You can say, he had a fantastic game. They accumulate a lot more stats. They play fewer games than baseball. And basketball, it's just through the anatomy of one single game, you can have a lot of fun. I just think there's each quarter, each half, there are so many little stories within the game, where baseball doesn't have that for me. I have not touched baseball too much in the last 2 years. And I enjoy it, but I'd rather just dedicate my free time to my free tabletop time, that is, to basketball. I also do a lot of traveling and other things. I got a life outside this. Anyway, Joe Bryan's bank shot basketball was the topic of this discussion. And the greatest thing about Joe Bryan's basketball in some ways is he creates a card for every single player who played for the team, whether it's 1 minute, one game. It doesn't matter. He will create a player for each team and how that guy played for that team. Or lady, if you're going to talk WNBA or things like that as well. So in this particular case, I wanted to do something I've never done, which is an as-played lineups type game. And the Utah Jazz and Portland Trail Blazers met in Game 1 of this 1979-80 season. And you can see these teams right here. And the Jazz were just flat out awful. I think they lost 19 of their first 21 games. They also lost this opening day game 101-85 to Portland. And they ended up playing, I believe, throughout the season, I think they had 20 players, different players, who strapped on a Utah Jazz jersey. This is the first year they were in Utah, and this is a brand new set for me. And it was pretty much gifted to me by a good friend in the tabletop basketball game community. And I just was excited about it. So, of course, I had to make a nice custom envelope for every single team. There's your Celtics, there's your Sixers, there's your Bullets, Knicks, Nets. It's just a great season of cards. And even though I know a lot about these players, because this was my wheelhouse for playing basketball in the 1970s and early 1980s, it's still nice to refresh your memory. This is 45 years ago. And so I put stats for, just general stats for what would be the starting lineup: center, forward, guard, and whatever 6 men there were, including the fact, like say with the Spurs here, You've got a longtime center in Billy the Whopper Pulse, and he got traded in mid-year. But of course, Joe made a card for Billy the Whopper Pulse. So you can play Billy with San Antonio. You can play him with the Houston Rockets. I got him as the seventh man, but I'm sure he started a couple games because Rick Barry and Rudy Tomjanovich were on their last legs as players. And you can do that. There was other big trades made during the season as well. So primarily, you could say Alex English started the year at 14.9 a game for the Pacers, but got sent packing to Denver, one of the greatest trades for the Denver Nuggets and one of the worst trades ever for the Indiana Pacers, even though they got George McGinnis in return. But George was clearly deteriorating in his career, even though he had just started in 1972 as a 20-year-old. But his career went down pretty darn quickly after that year in Denver in 78-79. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know, it was conditioning-wise or whatever. But Alex English, the young upstart, Larry Brown in Denver just did not like George McGinnis's practice habits or attitude, so sent him packing as soon as possible. Here's the lowly Cleveland Cavaliers, who actually won 37 games. They had a pretty good-looking team. I think Campy Russell got injured, but and then you go all the way down to the depths of the scale, and there's the Pistons, and there's another player. Bob Lanier played a lot of games in Detroit before getting sent to Milwaukee. So I want to play a lineup. I want to find one of those as-played games where Bob McAdoo and Bob Lanier played on the same team. That'd be so great. That was the coaching was Dick Vitale got in about 12 games, maybe went 4-8, and they said, no, you're out of here. I can't remember if they went with Jack McCloskey or not as the replacement coach. But anyway, that's a look at the Eastern Conference. Quickly, the Western Conference looks like this. The Lakers were the champs. Magic was a rookie and was awesome. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was still playing like a young man, even though he was 11 years in. Sonics, the defending champs. Jack Sikma improved, but team played very well with 56 wins. Very tight, hot Western Conference. Probably why my Blazers were so lousy. There's the third place team at 55 wins. The Clippers were fifth. The Blazers were fourth with 38 wins. Clippers had acquired a center named Bill Walton. He had sat out the 78-79 season in Portland. So I have a friend who's actually trying to play the 79-80 Blazers in fast break as we speak. And he decided to add Bill Walton to the team. So that's his rules, his game, and they're off to a 3-5 start. I don't think it's working out very good so far, but who knows what's going to happen in a typical fast break season with some made-up roster changes. There's the Golden State Warriors, sixth place, despite having a very good Robert Parrish, who would just get sent over to Boston the following year in one of the dumbest trades in league history. Your Bucks first place. Lanier came over, averaged 15-7, and they have a young player in Sid Moncrief. This is a very good Bucks team. Kansas City the same way. They had a great 79, a great 1980 with a young Phil Ford, Otis Birdsong, Scotty Wedman, Reggie King, and Sam Lacey. Very good team. Denver, David Thompson's starting to have some problems. I think he got injured in this season, and therefore the Nuggets were only able to win 30 games. A very interesting group of lineup there. McGinnis was not working out. I think Larry Brown's days were numbered with his team. Doug Moe was probably going to take over, or Donnie Walsh. I think Donnie Walsh already took over. I could be wrong about that. And the Bulls had an injured Artis Gilmore, so that did not help their season at all. 30-52. But anyway, the Utah Jazz, as I said, they used 20 different players. So for this particular game, it won't hurt anything to actually have the players that actually suited up in this game for them. And their starting lineup is a very interesting one. And let's take a look at the team right now. Yeah, this is the heaviest packet in my 79-80. You can see how many cards pack this little baby envelope. It's bursting at the seams already. But anyway, you got a Utah team fast break card. You always need one of those. And then who do we got? Terry Furlow. See, Furlow, I don't think he had reached the team yet. Oh, it does say 76 games, so Furlow might have. I wonder. Oh, that's his total card. See, he got traded, so there's the full team card. Throw that down there. Brad Davis, that's his full season card. There's the Jazz team card if you want to just play it off a team card slot. Ron Boone, I think he got traded within just a very few games with the Lakers, because I think he ended up playing a full season. Ron Boone was an Iron Man. He had a streak of games that he played a lot of games in a row. So I think he wasn't on the team yet, so he's not playing tonight. Duck Williams apparently started at guard in this game, so I'm going to guess, is he the shooting guard? What's his assist? 19? He could be the point guard for all I know. Ben Poquet came off the bench in this game, so at least he's on the team. Pistol Pete was in his final round of play, so Pistol definitely going to get some minutes in this game, as he's only a 1-10. So Duck is going to be your point. Pistol will be your shooter. They have Bernard King, who only finished 19 games. I mean, Bernard King, near Rookie of the Year in 78, another good year in 79, but probably some personal problems to the side. We'll start at small forward. And so you have an excuse to play a guy that played 19 games. James Hardy looks like the power forward. And here's Terry Furlow's Utah card. He's played 55 games in Utah, but he was not there yet. Let's see. Paul Dawkins came off the bench in that game. And Adrian Dantley is going to have to be, whoa. They must have used James Hardy at center. James Hardy, it sounds like some kind of a synthetic, some wood composite siding. And Dantley has to play power forward in this one. What an interesting lineup. I don't see, it shows Hardy as a forward, but he must have played a little bit of center in this opening game. What about the legendary Mac Calvin? Was he in there? No, I don't think he was there yet. Alan Bristow, you see how big this team is. It just goes and goes. Here's Alan Bristow. And Bristow came off the bench for 8 minutes in real life. Tommy Boswell, he came, I want to say he came in a trade. Or was he traded? He might have been, I don't even know. But I do not see Boswell. Jerome Whitehead? No. Andre Wakefield. What about Andre Wakefield? I do not see him playing either. We should have 6 bench players still. We are going through these lineups like crazy. Robert Smith, a point guard, yep. Carl Kilpatrick, 2 games. 3 minutes a game, so 6 minutes on the year. You get some incredible rebounding out of Carl Kilpatrick. 69 on the offensive boards, 96 on the defense. To put that in perspective, an average rebounder like Dantley gets a 28-24. Boy, Bernard can almost play power forward here. He's higher on the defensive boards than Dantley is. Yeah, he's a little taller too. Let's go with Bernard as the power forward. And Carl's not going to get a sniff a minute here. John Giannelli, his final sniff of action, 17 games, 17 minutes a game. The Jazz were ready to make some trades. Greg Dean played 10 minutes in real life. Brad Davis, no. John Brown, kind of known as a fouling forward for the Atlanta Hawks. Not doing much there. He only played 4 games. And then, of course, we got Booney, Boswell, and Jerome Whitehead with complete cards here. So there you have it. That is the lineup. The as-played lineup. I literally put all of these guys to the side because these are combined cards. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I literally almost have a complete team that did not play on the opening night. So let's see what the Blazers have in their basket here. Oh, I forgot Terry Furlow and Brad Davis too. There's a whole bunch of full stats players, but that is it. So I'm going to take my Jazz players that I will not be playing tonight, throw them in the envelope, and throw these guys on the bench. Portland, by contrast, was another injury-prone team, and they eventually had a player named Billy Ray Bates come out of the Maine Lumberjacks of the CBA. There's their team card. Calvin Nat started his year in New Jersey, was traded, came over in the Maurice Lucas trade, which had not occurred yet. So we're not going to have Calvin. Kevin Coonert. Oh, yes, he injured his knee real early in the year, only played 18 games, but he will have a spot on the Blazer bench. So I'm going to throw Nat off screen. Coonert, for sure. Lionel Hollins. Yep, Lionel only played 20 games. He was demanding a trade. This was kind of the beginning of the end for the 38 and 44 Blazers, who did not make the playoffs. Billy Ray Bates, he came for the last 16 games of the year, 15 minutes a game. I think he actually won a Player of the Week. He was certainly exciting to watch, known as Billy Ray Dunk Bates. And so Billy will not be playing since he wasn't there till late in the year. Tom Owens starts at center. All right. Place of Bill Walton, had a very good prior year in 79. There's Nat, Blazer card. Maurice Lucas played 41 in Portland. Like Lionel Hollins, demanded a trade, and he eventually got his wish. And unfortunately, the Blazers started to crumble there after tremendous years in 77, 78, a solid year in 79. Management wasn't willing to pay the big salaries of Hollins and Lucas. Abdul Jelani, my brother went to the same elementary school with Abdul Jelani. Well, Abdul Jelani's son, was it Azeen Jelani? I can't remember the name, but apparently Azeen thought he was as good as his dad. They go out and play basketball. And it was pretty funny, apparently. So, okay, Bob Gross had just gotten a good contract, but he was injured for this game. This wasn't injury prone. He'd typically start at small forward. T.R. Dunn got 23 minutes, so he'll be on the roster. Ron Brewer, who did eventually get traded at the start of the 80-81 season because he had a real bad shooting slump in the second half of the 79-80 season. Hopefully he is hot for me because we need his offense. Jim Brewer got to play at the start of the year. I don't remember Jim Brewer being there at the start of the year. That's funny. I thought we got him later as well. Maybe we picked him up late. And Kermit Washington was compensation, just like along with Kevin Coonert in the Bill Walton trade. So Kermit, he got named as a reserve when someone got hurt. So he got the all-star nod. Played very well. Has spent a lot of his last few years in prison because of his fraud with his charity, and so it's been a rough road for Kermit. Even with that punch of Rudy Tomjanovich, he did some good things, but then he did some bad things. So anyway, Kermit will be starting at the power forward slot. Well, wait. Oh, I was just going to look. Maurice Lucas was not in the lineup for this game, so Lucas is out of here. Hollins is there, and Lucas is not. Okay, so Kermit is here. And what do we have here? We have Dave Twardzik. I like Dave. But Dave was unavailable for this game. Wow. You look at the Blazers championship team, and Twardzik, Lucas, and Bob Gross are all on the bench, and Hollins is in the lineup, and Walton was traded. So, and Larry Steele, the Bandit, he actually got to start this game at small forward. So good for Larry. We needed him. That was his final season. He only played 16 whole games. That's too bad. Larry was a great player, but his knees finally gave out, just like Twardzik's final year as well. We did have Jim Paxson 10 minutes, 1 for 3 in the real-life game. So Jimmy will be on the bench. And here's the Trailblazers team card. So players not playing, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's double for Nat there. So 5 guys did not play. But anyway, that is the lineups for the two teams. The score in real life was Portland winning the game 101-85. So what I'm going to do with this particular game is fast forward to a point later in the game and show you how the game is playing out. So stay tuned. Before we get into any live bank shot basketball action between Portland and Utah, I was going to show you some cards from the 79-80 edition of Topps Basketball, and these cards are just kind of fun. I've got them in sheets that are not chemical free because they're probably 35 to 40 years old, but they don't look like they've lost anything, so maybe that's just a urban myth that they will deteriorate with the chemical sheets in there. I'll probably change them over one of these days. But anyway, you got a great George Gervin leading off this whole page here. The Iceman, Sixth Man Supreme, Mitch Kupchak, Henry Bibby, Bobby Gross. Got guys like Dave Cowens, DJ, Scotty Wedman, another great shooter, Earl Monroe, obviously a Hall of Famer, and Mike Bantam. So those are some really good stars. The backs kind of look like this. Kind of fun. Let's see what the Iceman has all about. He has scoring prowess. Can't go wrong with some statistics like that. He's just scoring all the time, and he gets better as the 80s approach. Let's see what else we got. We got the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, JoJo White, etc., Spencer Haywood, guys like Kevin Porter, Hall of Famer Bernard King, who will be starting for the Jazz, Mike Newland. There was only 132 cards in this set. Sidney Wicks, former Blazer, Dan Issel, Hall of Fame, Tom Henderson, point guard. Of course, all we have is Doc over here. I'm surprised there's not an all-star next to his name. There's a stuck page. But Doc, Jimmy Jones, Brian Winters, the Whopper. Just all-time great players. Maurice Lucas sitting on the bench for this game. He must be hurt for Portland. But you can see Luke's stats. Pretty darn cool. The Whopper. And there they are. Moving on, Sam Lacey, Toby Knight, Caldwell Jones, some very serviceable players. Got a lot of starts out of those guys. Alex English, on his way to Denver in 79-80. Gail Goodrich closing out a career. The great Paul Westphal, Greavy, Wilkes, Sonny Parker. And there's John Giannelli, his last swan song with the Jazz. I don't think he played much more than that. Very average center and a little bit mediocre, but not too bad. Lloyd World Free, who slung that ball right behind his head as he's showing. The great Bill Walton, who went into super injury mode for the next 3 years. He really did not play much from 80 to 82. Freddie Downtown Brown, Dr. Dunk, Darnell Hillman, Ray Williams, DT, David Thompson, fabulous player, just so good. Alvin Adams, longtime son, and Adrian Dantley, the starting power forward. And there's Adrian. He's just a mystery player. Let's find his card here. Started his years in Buffalo, ended up going over to Indiana, Los Angeles, played a full year in Los Angeles, and then he was on Utah. So by his fourth season, he was on his fourth team. So, he left LA in 1979. By the time 1980 rolled around, the Lakers were a championship team. So you had all kinds of players like that. Here comes Super John Williamson, Campy, Armand Hill, Mickey Johnson, Bob Lanier, Pete Maravich, final year in Utah. Nick Weatherspoon, Robert Reed, Michael Thompson. And Michael for Portland broke his leg in the offseason and is unable to play in that 1980 game because he broke his leg and missed the entire 79-80 season as well. I think he was playing in the Bahamas where he was from. Jack Sikma, Dougie Collins, career running out due to knee injuries. Wilkerson, Robinson, and Merriweather. Don't forget the great Marcus Johnson. Should be in the Hall of Fame. I will toot my horn. Great UCLA player, multi-time All-Star. Power forward and small forward, could do it all. I know it wasn't high longevity, but if a guy like Tracy McGrady, who was so remarkably inconsistent, can make the Hall of Fame, a guy like Marcus Johnson, who was consistent and great for a very great stretch of years, should be in the Hall of Fame. There you got Bassett, Silas, McAdoo. McAdoo trying to find himself. He left Detroit for Boston and kind of goes to no man's land for a couple of years before the Lakers discover him again and he wins a championship. Austin Carr, the original Cav. Don Ford, Steve Haas. And there's the high-flying Ron Brewer. I was hoping that Ron Brewer would become a star for a lot of years with Portland, but his jump shot he lost it midway through the 79-80 season, and he was gone by 80-81, a few games in. Walter Davis, Blazer killer, Walter Davis. He was insane. Calvin Murphy. Walter Davis, in his prime, as good a small forward as I've seen in my lifetime. Elevates, super speed, just clutch shooter. So good. Tom Boswell. I don't think he's playing for the Jazz tonight, but he eventually gets on the Jazz. There's Lonnie Shelton, Terry Tyler, Randy Smith, Rich Kelly. Played a little while for the Jazz. He must have just left. Otis, my man, Birdsong. Big Marvin Webster. Eric Money and the Biggie. Elvin Hayes. There's a career right there. San Diego, Houston, Baltimore Capital, Washington, and eventually back to Houston. Played here with Moses Malone. Junior Bridgman, Johnny Davis, Parrish, Eddie Jordan, Truck Robinson, Roby. These guys are just fun to look at. Mark Olberding, still a young guy, started his career very young. And an untouched checklist. That's a nice thing to have, not marked up. I used to mark all of my checklists. Had to get every card. There's Moses Malone. He was a 78-79 MVP. Young Daryl Dawkins. JJ. Chenier. Charlie Scott. Phil Ford and ML Carr won the Steel's title before heading over to the Celtics to get a couple titles and coached them as well. Tiny bouncing back. He had played a very average year in 79, but he actually bounced back and played a bunch of games after missing all of 78. And there's Aaron James. He used to be a fixture with the Jazz. They must have just let him go because he was not in the 80 Jazz. Jim Clemens, James Edwards, and Don Boozy. Boozy, assist and steals champion, 76-77. Charles Johnson, Elmore Smith, and the Mixer. All right, here's a couple classic players. John Drew, Sweet Lou, and the great Rick Barry, all three All-Stars at one time. And there goes Kent Benson. Mike Gale, Jan Van Bredekop, defensive specialist. There's George McGinnis on his way to the Pacers for Alex English. Leon Douglas and Chris Ford. Yeah, George just peaked too soon or something. I don't know what happened to him in 1980. He should have still been good. I mean, great numbers in the ABA and NBA. There's our starting point guard, Lionel Hollins. And there's the starting forward for Portland, Kermit Washington. Compensation for Walton. There's John Lucas. Had some personal troubles, but has now got his own operation for helping players break their drug problems, beat their drug problems. Here's Bobby Dandridge. Big Bill. Played just 14 games in 1980 with the Clips. Doug Collins and Wilkes. Pretty darn cool. We're down to 3 minutes left in this NBA tilt. 1980, Jazz and Blazers. Jazz just have not shot the ball well today, and it's not been their game. They've had Bernard King in the starting lineup, and Bernard has decided to lay an egg, go 1 for 11. I've thrown him down to the bench, and he's only at 2 of 6 free throws for 4 points. Something's wrong with that guy's head today, so I went with Dantley as much as I can. He's 9 for 21 for 18 points. This team has scored thus far 14 points, 17 points, and 18 points through the first 3 quarters, and have only got 9 in the fourth. So the Blazers at least have peaked 20 points in each of the periods and lead 85-58, and they've got this game all locked up. I'm just throwing in some of my favorite Blazers for some garbage time here, which happen to be mostly starters, and I've got mostly starters in for the Jazz as well. This Blazer team, by the way, they won their first 9 games in 1979 in real life, defeating the Jazz 101-85 in the game 1. They also defeated the Jazz in Utah 3 games later on October 18th, 1979, 107-92. And they won their last 5 of those wins by not even scoring 100 points in that streak. And then they lost 2 games, won 2 more. So they were actually 11-2 at one point. And this team finished 38-44. Not so good. Some injuries took place, and they just didn't. They weren't as cohesive as the season progressed. And then, of course, the trades of Hollins and Lucas were the final nails in the coffin. So, anyhow, this was an interesting group, an interesting team, and I'm looking forward to this final 3 minutes just to see what happens in the Jazz and Blazer matchup. And I don't mean to misquote. The Blazers did actually make the last playoff spot in this one. There's years when they won 40 games when they didn't. This is the 38-game season that they did. Billy Ray Bates came through as a rookie and put up about 26, 27 points a game in 3 playoff games. Let me verify that. 25.0, 3 playoff games, despite coming up late in the year, way late in the year, the final 16 games of the year. And he threw in 53% from the field in those 3 playoff games, 2 of them which were starts. And it was quite impressive that he was doing such damage to the Seattle Supersonics of 1980, despite losing the series 2-1. They don't have those 2-1 series anymore. Those are tough ones to win. So anyway, this team had some guts, but it's just a lot of holes in the lineup due to a lot of injuries. So Blazers had the ball, 3 minutes to go. Let's see what happens here. I want to let you know I'm enjoying this game, not just because my favorite team, the Blazers, are winning, but I had just come off a game playing replay, and I'm further convinced that even though the detail of this fast bank shot game isn't always seemingly as accurate, I'm finding the rebounds and the scoring distribution is not bad at all. And flat out, this game is far more simplistic to play. There's not as much thought process going into each individual matchup between offensive player and defensive player, and that's the way I like it. So I've upgraded my opinion slightly on bank shot, slightly lowered my opinion on replay, which I know is a good game, but most people who enjoy that game use the computer version to aid their play, even if they have the game cards. So it's this right out of the box with cards and dice suits me. I'm a cards and dice guy only. You'll never get me consistently in front of a PC screen, even though lots of people love it. I will definitely play another PC game and broadcast that. But here we go. Blazers, 85-58. Here's Tom Owens, a star of the day. Let's see what his totals are up to the minute. He's at 10 of 14 from the floor, 4 of 6 from the line, 10 rebounds, 24 points. He's just an offensive machine today, even though Ben Poquette has come and blocked a couple of his shots. So, Blazer basketball. Let's just see how simple this game is. Got a B3, and that is Tom Owens. Defender is Poquette. We're talking about it right now. 32 on Poquette's defensive column is a missed shot for T.O. And so, off the miss, Rebound is simple enough. Defensive F1. Alan Bristow, who's come off the bench. I think Alan eventually started for this team. They definitely need him. Fast break chance. Neither of these teams can fast break really well. It's fast break D, E, held up. So we're a base of D, fast break offensive D. So the Blazer defense is -1. So their net fast break is an E. Another thing where it's very easy to look this stuff up and understand that your fast break is D, E. You can look at it instantly. You're not trying to figure out the Pythagorean theorem as in replay. I really think they need to revamp that fast break. They can do it. They can do it without having to change the cards too often. But that is just a messed up fast break over in replay. Here comes the Jazz. Fast break held up. Here comes Adrian Dantley, and that's going to be a 39 on his offensive column, and that's a basket. AD finally hits the 20-point barrier, and it's 60-85. Dantley is 10 for 22. Interestingly enough, he has not gotten to the foul line. Usually that is his thing, and he does draw fouls while shooting from 87 to 99. Draws a foul from 0 to 9. You would think that would happen more often, but not today in the Portland Memorial Coliseum. Ball goes to veteran Larry Steele, one of his final 16 games of his career, and I roll a 0 on offense, and he draws a foul. He does not draw a lot of fouls. It's going to be on the G2, and Pistol Pete picks up number 5. And team foul, I believe that's just 4, so not to the line just yet is Larry Steele. So Blazers with possession. Hand it to Owens, defender card. And that's going to be 55 on Ben Poquette. And that's going to be a basket. So T.O. continues to score at will. 87-60. Jazz come down G1. That's Duck. Unless he's an E. No, he's a D. All right. 56 on the Duck. Missed shot. Rebound to Owens. Fast break chance. Let's take a look. Held up. It's as simple as that. G2. Ron Brewer. 26. Another miss for Brewer. Brewer's not having a great shooting day. Kind of like real life. Rebounded by Ben Poquette. Fast break chance. 2-pointer missed by the F1. So Alan Bristow's going to miss a 2-pointer. Grab a quick rebound. Defensive center fast break Owens. Two-point C to E held up. Yeah, the Blazers fast break is a D. So C to E held up. These teams don't like to run. Like I told you, they don't score over 100 too often. F2, that is Larry Steele. And it says all foul while shooting are 2-point basket plus foul. So we'll see what Steele gets here. And he gets a 37. And, of course, that's a foul while shooting, which is a 2-point basket plus foul. Foul on the center. Poquette his second. Over the limit as well. So Larry Steele's going to get a basket. 89-60. And the foul's on Poquette. And so Larry's going to get a free throw as well. What's Larry got for the game here? Larry has 3 of 7, 3 of 4 at the moment. So he's looking for double digits with this one free throw. And it's a 36. It's good. Larry Steele, the league's first steals leader, makes it a nice round 90-60. Blazers have had 21, 22, 24, and 23 points in these 4 quarters. So they're playing a lot more consistently than the Jazz. Center's Poquette. Poquette with a 33 on offense. That's a basket with an assist, so give Ben Poquette a basket. He's having a solid day, at least trying on defense. And we'll check to see where the assist goes on this one. G1, it's going to be Duck Williams. Not to be confused with Buck Williams, a future Blazer. F1 Kermit Washington. Kermit, All-Star. Oh, that was a 12. Okay, 0-0 and 6-6. How interesting is that? 0-0 is a turnover for Kermit. We can check to see if it's a steal by the defensive center. 12. No, 2-6. So turnover, ball goes into the hands of Utah with about a minute and a half left. They're going to give it to Duck Williams. Duck Williams played one NBA season. This season, 77 games, started a few. And Duck gets a 29. 29. Foul while shooting. The fouler is Ron Brewer. So I'll give him a foul right off the bat. Let's check and see if Duck Williams can make this free field goal. 50, it's no good. So 2 shots for Duck Williams. Let's see, would we say 3 to make 2? Sure, 3 to make 2. Duck Williams. Still did the 3 to make 2 until after the 80-81 season. Duck Williams' first free throw is a 59. If it's 8-12, nope. And an 87. It's an 8-12, nope. Okay, well, he's going to go for the hat trick. 22 makes the third. Duck Williams. Miss, good. So it's 90-63. Blazers. B1. Blazers don't have a B1. They do have an F2, though, and that's Larry Steele. Steele goes up. 42. 42 on offense. That is a basket with an assist. Larry Steele. Assisted by Lionel Hollins, just like in the old championship days of 3 years ago in this case. Running out of time. G2. Pistol Pete, who's had a dreadful game. I see 2 of 8, roughly 2 of 7. He's not shooting the ball much or often. Final 17 games with the Jazz in his career. And it's a 98 on Pistol. That is a basket. And it's good. Pistol Pete. No assist. 92-65. The actual score is 101-85. So Jazz are underperforming here. G2, Ron Brew. Defender is Pete. Maravich's defense, 76. That's a basket with an assist. So Brewer's going to get a basket. 94-65. Throw an assist in for the F1 Kermit. And we're running low on time here. Jazz are going to run it out. Ball goes to the Duck. All foul while shooting or 2-point basket plus foul. We've seen that before. Duck Williams with a 96. And he is fouled by Owens, his 4th. And it's just 2 shots for Duck. He's going to work on his free throws as the buzzer goes off. That's an 80. Boy, he's not that great a foul shooter. I keep getting that. 80. 8-12. I only got a 4 on that. So Duck misses the first. And a 29. He drills the second. So miss and a make. And the final score from Portland's Memorial Coliseum. Bank shot basketball. Blazers 94. Jazz 66. Let's quickly look at some of the stats. Go for the losing Jazz. First game played as the Utah Jazz in regular season play. Bernard King, as I mentioned, 1 for 11, 4 points. Dantley, 10 of 22, 20 points to lead the team, but there was only 2 other guys in double digits. Duck Williams, 5 of 11, 2 for 5 from the line. And Ben Poquette, 3 of 7, but 7 for 7 from the line. Foul shooting was not the best thing today. Jazz hit 64%, Blazers 71%, 10 of 14, Jazz 14 for 22. What else do we have? Let's break it into the Jazz stats again. Leading rebounder, boy, there really were not a lot of rebounders. 7 for Poquette, 6 for Dantley, 5 for Hardy. Jazz shot just 33.8 from the floor. They couldn't throw it in the ocean. They're playing like the 24-win team that we expect them to. But, of course, these are opening day lineups, and I don't know if they had their best players showing up. I think they must have played a little bit better later in the year. They did start the season, I believe, 2-19, and it was certainly reflected in this as-played lineups game, which partially I liked, but partially I was a little bit unhappy with not being able to play Billy Ray Bates or Maurice Lucas or some of my other favorites on the Blazers like Dave Twardzik. But it hurt the Jazz possibly more because they didn't have a lot of depth. The bench play with Robert Smith going 0 for 4, Alan Bristow going 0 for 7, and, not much else going on there. The Trailblazers, by contrast, scored close to their team scoring average, 94. I think they were close to 100 as a team. But Kermit Washington and limited, played the fourth, 6 points, 6 rebounds. He played some really good defense. So Larry Steele, 12 points, and he played reasonably well as the forward, replacing Bob Gross. Owens, as I noted, player of the game, probably 26 points, 10 boards. Just did a great job. Lino Hollins, just 8 points, just 3 assists, but shot 4 for 7. Ron Brewer did not shoot well. 9 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Did grab some boards. Paxson off the bench was 0 over 2. Kunert off the bench in 15 minutes, 0 for 2. These guys weren't really looking to shoot. Jim Brewer, though, good board work. 5 rebounds, 8 points in 18 minutes. And Abdul Jelani, 7 for 10, 1 for 2, 15 points, 5 boards. T.R. Dunn did great. 5 of 8 off the bench, 18 minutes, 3 boards, 3 assists. And overall, let's take a look at the team stats real quick before we call it a day. Blazers out-rebounded the Jazz 47-34. Out-assisted them 20-17. Out-stole them 7-6. Out-blocked them 7-4. Both teams had 14 turnovers. So there you have it from Portland. Blazers win 94-66 in the as-played lineups Game 1, 1979 season for the Blazers and Jazz. Lucius, Big Mac, Wilbur Holland, Austin Carr, Walter Davis, second team All-Star. There's some more Murph. Bobby Jones, Kermit. Oh, see, I've actually moved on from another season of cards. I've actually moved into 1979. So I've got 79 as well here. That's why I'm going, why? I'm repeating some cards. Well, anyway, we'll just quickly go through some of those 79 cards as well. Let's just do this. Davis, Nader, Hudson, Hayes, Archibald. See, Archibald with the Braves. Oh my goodness, look at these guys. Cowens, Scott. Yeah, this is funny. I didn't realize this was going to happen. There's a Barry with the Warriors. Where he should have stayed. Would have finished his career with the Warriors. It would have been nicer for him, even if He and Al Adels would have been at each other's throats. But anyway, there's some more stuff. There's Lionel Hollins. Just fun stuff. You can't go wrong with these cards. They're just a lot of fun. Very small set, 132, about 3 seasons in a row. Here's Bobby Gross, Silas, David Thompson, Luke, Caldwell Jones, Sid Wicks, there's Kareem again. Kevin Porter, fun player. Fun player in tabletop hoops. He always got a lot of assists. Richard Washington from Portland. Benson Tech, I believe. Newland, Marcus Johnson. Ray Williams again. And then there's Dr. J. Kareem. And finally, some from the prior year, Earl the Pearl Monroe. Anyway, a fun set of cards, a fun way to play your games and augment them with some great Topps basketball cards.